All right, so do you know where it starts? I don't know where it starts. What do you mean yes? I know that it I know that it keeps on going to positive infinity, but I don't know if it where it starts. So because I don't know, I'm going to go ahead and go to the table. I know I need to go to the negative numbers. Why do I know that I need to go to the negative numbers? Because X is it's right or left, and that's where I cannot see where it starts on those negative numbers. So I'm going to go to the table, and I'm going to go up to the negative numbers. And where do I start? Well, no, that I still have numbers on -3. Miguel. No, no, you can't see. Negative what? How do you know that you need to stop at -12? Very good. That means that 13 is not actually something that the calculator can do with this function. Very good. So it starts at -12. It includes -12, but where does it end? Positive infinity. Very good. What about my range? My range would be up and down. So where does it start on my range? On 0. Thank you very much. And then it goes all the way to what? Positive infinity, because it keeps on going. Very good. So it would be from 0 to positive infinity. All right. Now we did this on this worksheet that we did last week. Do you remember what your denominator can absolutely not be? That's a fraction. So your denominator, whatever you, it can. Why can it not be 4? And then 4 minus 4 would be what? 0. Very good. So in this one, it's everything but what? But that 4. Very good. So all real numbers except for 4. Now the range doesn't get affected, so it's all real numbers. All right, let's do this one. X squared minus 7. Let's go to the y equal to. And write down x squared minus 7. And let's go ahead and graph it. There it is. All right, so what's my domain? Can I restrain my domain? No, because as it keeps on going higher and higher, it becomes wider. So what's my domain? All real numbers. So from positive infinity to negative infinity. What about my range? Can I restrain? On one side, but then not on the other. And I'm going to show you a little trick. This little number should be the y-intercept, right? When you study this in in 7th grade, right? What was this number right here? The y-intercept. This was the slope, which was your rate of change. She gets distracted too much. And this is your y-intercept, right? So this would be your y-intercept, which means it's -7. Does that kind of look like -7? Heck yes. So this would be from -7 all the way to what? Positive infinity. Very good. All right, let's go to this one. So this looks a lot like that one, right? So it should have an error at some point, doesn't it? All right, so let's figure out where it is. Y equal to second square root of x minus 8, and then you have to jump out of there, right? Because that plus 3 does not need to be inside the square root. And then when I graph it, ooh, it's right there. Right? So let's go to the table. It's a positive number, isn't it? My x is a positive number, so let's go. Oh, there it is. Wait, I'm on the negatives. Error, 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 error. Where does it stop? Oh, there you go. There you go. It stops at, or should I say it starts at 8, right? So it goes from 8 all the way to what? Positive infinity. Very good. Now my range doesn't get affected, so it's all of it, right? All right, so let's go to the absolute value. Do you remember how to write that one down? Y equals to, where do we go for the absolute? Math. And then over and then 1, right? And then x minus 8, and then you jump out of there and you say plus 9. Remember, go to the graph. If you cannot see it, then go to the table. All right. So what's my domain? Can I restrain it? No. So it would be all real numbers. What about my range? Where do you think it starts? Where do you think it starts? Because I can only restrain it at the top, right? And where do you think that starts? What do you think that number is? It's in your equation. It's 9, because whatever is plus or minus, that's your y-intercept, which means, or where it starts, right? Your vertex. It's right over there. Very good. So that would probably be 9. Very good. All right. So it starts at 9. And then, can I restrain it at the bottom? Oh, you can't see it. I'm sorry. Can I restrain it at the bottom? No, so it would be negative infinity. Oh, yeah, it should be reversed. I'm sorry. Yes, yes, it should be. But it's okay. I don't want to write it again, but it should be negative infinity to positive 9. Yes. All right. This one's real easy. X cannot be what? It cannot be what? Cornelius? Say it. It cannot be? Say it, both of them. It cannot be 2 and it cannot be 6. Because if you put a 6 over here, it would be 6 minus 6, which is 0. And then if you put 2 in here, it would be negative 2, not 2. Negative 2, right? Negative 2, not 2, right? So it would be all real numbers except for negative 2 and 6, and positive 6. And then the range doesn't really get affected. Okay? Not most of the time it doesn't. All right, are we good? Yay? All right, so put that back in your notebook. When are we staying this week? Wednesday. All right. No, it's early release. No, that would be next week. No, that's next week. That's the early release is not this Friday. It's next Friday. I'm sorry, Wednesday. This is what happens after 40. This is what happens after 30. So don't, after 30, stop having birthdays. Man. I could. My grandfather had it. All right, 1, 2, 3. Eyes on me. Let's go ahead and start. Let's use a little bit of common sense, right? If I have this showing, that means that what? We're doing it next. So why are we just chilling and not getting ready? Come on. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start. The surface area of a cube is the total outside area of the cube. It can be found by using the formula A equals 6x squared. Solve your problem. Miss Marine, it doesn't need to be my problem because you didn't show up for tutoring. Go and solve your problem. Miss Marine has asked you to construct a cube that has a side length of at least 3 inches. All right. So this one is the easiest one because I already have my function. I'm trying to calculate the area, the surface area of a cube, and I already have the formula. So the formula says that the surface area equals 6 times the side length squared. So So instead of going ahead and writing it as a equals 6s squared, I like to write it with y's and x's. So I'm going to write that y equals 6x squared. Now you got to tell me what depends on what, because the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to define my variables. Dependent and independent. It's over here. Dependent and independent. Somebody close that door, please. I said it's over here. All right, so what depends on what? So the dependent variable would be y. Is that what you guys are telling me? And the independent variable would be x. Okay, so in the context of the problem, what is x and what is y? X is the side length. Very good, Rolando. And what would be your y? It's not the area. Is it surface area? There's a big difference. All right. So the bigger the cube, what happens to the surface area? The bigger it is. Very good. Now there's a restraint in here. What's the restraint? What's the restraint? Okay, can we read it again if you don't know what it is? Read it again. You have it in front of you. Say that again, Joshua. What needs to be at least 3 inches? The side length needs to be at least 3 inches. So that restrains what? The domain or the range? The domain, because that's your x. Very good. The domain would be your x. The range would be your y. So that restrains, if the side length needs to be at least 3 inches, your domain starts where? At 3. And it can go all the way to what? To infinity. Very good. All right, so here comes the hard part. If the domain needs to be at least 3, what's the smallest possible value for the surface area? Okay, stop guessing and do it. And think about it. Stop guessing. I don't like it when we don't even take an effort and we just blur out a number.
18.
I'm going to ask again. If the smallest domain is 3, what's the smallest surface area?
That's what I said. But it's not 18 times 2. 18. Yeah, and that's 324. So I don't know.
Stop tuning me out and try. That's the problem. You tune me out. And that's a-okay, but I see it in some grades. And I'm going to tell you what, comes next week, some of you will be moved down to Math 8. I cannot have people in here that don't even try. We can't. We have big shoes to fill because last year class did amazing. But they worked their tail off like you would not believe. I've never had kids as hardworking as those in 17 years of teaching. Some of you are already skipping tutoring. I didn't have that problem last year, just so you know. Not at all. Those 30 children show up every Tuesday and you only need to give me one Friday a month. They had to give me every darn Friday. All right. I'm going to say it again. If the smallest domain is 3, the smallest domain, which is the side length, is 3, what would be the smallest surface area? How could the side length and the surface area be the same? Do we even know what surface area is? What surface area? It tells you right here. It's what? Is the total outside area of the cube. It also, thank you, Evelyn. It also tells you what? Thank you. It also tells you how to calculate it. So the only thinking involved in here is knowing what is your side length. Which you don't even need to think about it because I'm telling you that it has to be at least what? 3. Evelyn, can you explain to your classmates how you came up with that 54? The domain is 3, very good. Thank you. She just went to, she didn't even do any math. She just went straight to that darn table after she put the equation where? On the y equal to. What am I asking you to do? To figure out what? The range, which is your y. Don't you have your x? Yes, you do. Smallest one is 3. We need to learn how to think. What's my function? Everybody doing this because Evelyn was the only one that was able to do this. 6x squared. Calculator in hand, working. And tell us again, Evelyn, what you did? She went to the table. Thank you very much. And she knew that her domain was what? 3, so her range needs to be 54. That took a lot of effort, right? We're being sarcastic. So from 54 to what? Positive infinity. Very good. All right, let's do the next one. A local youth group is planning a trip to a local amusement park. They are taking their church bus, which holds 32 people. It will cost $25 for parking and $22.50 per person to enter the park. All right, so Rolando already told you that your independent variable will be your x, that your dependent variable will be your y. Domain is x, range is y. Now in here, we have to generate an equation because it's not like this one. This one, I already gave you the equation. We had to generate an equation. So if we decide to take this field trip, how much money do we need? Give me a general equation that I can use. So Cornelius is saying 22.50x. Thank you very much. Plus 25. Very good. So what depends on what? The independent variable is the number of people attending the trip, right? What about my dependent variable? The what?
How much it costs.
The cost or the money. Very good. The cost or the money needed to do this trip, right? Now there's a restrained. Does it say that they're taking more than one bus? No, they're just taking the church bus, and the church bus holds how many people? 32. Now, people are the independent variable, which is the same thing as the domain, right? These are people. And this is money. So talk to me about what's my domain. I can't hear. What's your domain if domain is the number of people?
No, greater than or equal to y greater than or
XXX.
I mean x greater than or equal to.
Very good. Your domain would be from 0 to 32 because after all, no people, I mean, if nobody signs up, then nobody's going, right? All right. What about my range? It starts at 25. Very good, Evelyn, because even if people do not go, you still have to pay how much? $25 to park the bus. Very good. So it starts at 25. And what's the maximum amount of money that I need? So how do we do this? You can go to the table and go to 32, right? If you don't mind going all the way down to 32. But another thing that you can do is plug it in or substitute it, right? Instead of the x, what am I going to put? 30, not y, 32. So that would be 2250 times 32 plus 25, and that's 700 and what? 745. Now, if you don't want to do any of this, just go straight to the table, right? Now, in some cases, if your x is 500, heck no, you're not going to the table, right? You're not going down 500 all the way to 500. No, you're substituting. All right? Number 3. I'm going to do this one together. We're going to do this one together, number 3. And then number 4, you guys are going to do as a group on your team. All right, Zenaida decides to start a business by printing design on T-shirts and selling them for $25 each. So we're selling them for $25. The printing machine cost $1,000, and the materials for each T-shirt is $750. Zenaida is interested in calculating the profit of her business. And profit is defined as revenue, which are your sales, minus the expenses. So to get started, she orders 500 shirts. Okay, so dependent would be your Y, independent would be your X, domain is X, range is Y. All right, so let's come up with the equation first. We're going to calculate profit, and it says that the profit equals what? The sales minus the expensive. My sales would be 25x, and then what do I have to take away from that? What are my expenses? 750x, because it's $750 per shirt. And then how much? $1,000. Very good. So my expenses are going to be $750 per shirt plus the $1,000. And I'm going to have to take all of that away from the 25x. So what's my equation? 25x minus, and then I got to open a parenthesis because expenses is more than one thing. It's the 1,000 and the 750. Yes? With me? All right, so what depends on what? So in this case, the money would be what? Profit. So let's write down profit, and then let's put a dollar sign between it. So the profit, which is the money that you're making, depends on what? So the sales of the T-shirts. Very good. I'm going to put T-shirts And then in parentheses, I'm going to put my sales, right? Because both of them, both those two things are correct. If you said sales, that's correct. If you say t-shirts, that's correct as well. Because what are you selling? The t-shirts, right? All right. On we're not. I forgot to mention this. We're not. We're going back to the C, to the screen and continues after tutoring. We do that Thursday. Because I'm not going to do this until tutoring. So you cannot miss this week's tutoring because I'm teaching about discrete and continuous and we're not going to do it during class. All right? This Wednesday is next Wednesday that we cannot because it's early release. That's why we're doing this Saturday. If anybody wants to come on a Saturday. All right, so let's go ahead and what's the restraint? I have a restraint. It's 500 shirts. Very good. She's ordering 500 shirts. Yay? So she can sell from what to what? To 0 to 500 because she orders 500 shirts. So that would be 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 500. Now we got to figure out our range. So if she doesn't sell any shirts, because these are shirts, right? These are shirts. And this is profit. It's a negative number. Very good, because she had a bunch of what? Expenses. She only for the printing machine it was just $1,000. That was a lot of money that she had to have out of pocket. So I think that the best way to do this is to, for the 0 at least, is to come and do what? Y equals to, and write that down. So 25x minus 7.5x plus 1,000. Let me make sure that I did it correctly. 25x minus 7.5. And then I'm going to go to the table and I'm going to go to that 0. So negative what? 1,000. Because she still has to have that, right? Now for 500, I'm definitely not going to that table. What am I going to do? Plug it in. Very good. So it would be 25 times 500, because that's my x, minus 7.5 times 500, because that's my x, plus 1,000. And then you quit out of there, and you go to your regular calculator, right? So 25 times 500 minus 7.5 times 500 plus 1,000. 7,750. Make sure you get that. Yay? All right, number 4, as a group, go. As a group. I need to hear people talking and it needs to be good noise. 1, 2, 3. Eyes on me. Let's go ahead and start. Okay, dependent variable. Dependent. The cost. Very good. Independent. The number of guests or friends or people or person, whatever you wrote over there, right? All right, so what's my equation? Y equals what? 9x. Very good. What's my restraint on the domain?
24.
So how many people can go to this party?
24 or more.
Really? Or less? Now, can you have -1 guest? Can you have 0 guests? Yes. People just don't show up, right? Poor baby. Nobody showed up for her birthday party, but that's still possible, right? So I'm going to stop. From 0 all the way to 24. Now talk to me about the range. If no people go, then it's $0. Because no people are going.
$0 to
9 times what? Somebody said it. 9 times 24. Very good. 24 times 9. 200 and what? 216?
216.
Yes? I just wanted to make sure. Very good. 216. All right. Let's do 5 together. And then 6 on your own. I mean, as a group. All right? Let's go. Shh. All right. I'm waiting, babies. Still waiting. Oscar is taking his younger sister Emma to the zoo. For both of them to get into the zoo is a total of $13. Emma wants souvenirs, which cost $7 a piece. All right. So what depends on what? Dependent first, please. What? What's the dependent? The cost. Very good. How much money do they need to actually get inside that zoo, right? What's the independent variable? The souvenirs. Very good, Dora. The number of souvenirs. All right, so what would my equation be? Y equals what? 7x? Thank you, because even if they don't buy any souvenirs, right? They still have to get inside the zoo, and that would be $13, right? All right, so what's my domain? From what? From 0 to what? Okay, what is... All right, listen. You guys are not thinking about this. I need you to stop and think. It's not a competition. Because you have to be able to think, and you have to know how to think when you do word problems for domain and range, okay? What is the domain? No. What is it? What does the domain is represented? What is the domain? The souvenirs. All right. Sorry, I didn't ask the question correctly. And this would be the cost, right? How much money I need, right? All right. Now that you know, now that we have right here beside it that domain is souvenirs, what's my domain? Now give me numbers. All right. From 0, I agree with that one. Thank you. To what? To a positive infinity. Why is it not 7? What is the 7?
7 is the cost.
Is the cost. It's not how many you're buying. It's the cost of each one. So it would be from 0 to positive infinity. All right? So now, if my domain is from 0 to positive infinity, because it's not telling you how much money they got. If they did tell you how much money they got, then it would be different. It wouldn't be infinity, right? Because if I only have $50 to spend, and then it's not infinity. I only have how much? 50. But it's not telling you that. That's not the case here. So what would be my range? If I don't buy any souvenirs. Thank you. 13. All the way to what?
Infinity.
There you go. Next one on as a group. Go. As a group. Go. He's right. If she doesn't work, she's not going to get paid. She bossy, isn't she? Ooh. Don't worry, Larnisha. Miss Marina is too. All right, 1, 2, 3. Eyes on me. Let's go. Uh, Dependent variable. No, it's not cost. Paid. Very good. It's her paycheck. Independent. The number of hours. Wind down. What's my equation? Very good. Now there's a restraint. 11. Her parents are not going to let her work more than 11 hours, correct? All right. So from what to what can she work? 0 all the way to 11, because after all, she doesn't have to work. She can stay home and chill, right? So these are your hours, and this is what you get paid. So if my domain is from 0 to 11, what would my range be?
0 to 137.
So 1250 times what?
0 to 137.5.
Or you can just go to the table, right?
137.5.
So you can either plug in, or go to the table after you've written down 12.5 x on your y equal to, right? Because 11 is not a hard number to go find on x, right? So 100 and what?
137.5.
.50. Are we good? Yay? All right. Put everything inside your